welcome to Friday Night Modular. So tonight is going to be kind of fun. So I've been messing around quite a bit again with modular, incorporating it into my workflow. I think I may have found where I can get that CV cable. I was doing a search on Google and I came across a Reddit article where someone was talking to someone about create making cables. So I've reached out to that person and I'm hoping to hear back from them. And once I get that going, I'll definitely let you guys know where I found this cable from. The guy is out of Los Angeles and he makes cables. So I'm waiting for to hear back from him on what he can do for me. And this will make my modular a little bit easier. Again, it was kind of a toss up between going from MIDI to CV. And I really didn't want to go that direction because it's less like the tones that you get from the equipment is a little different. The same way that I'm using MIDI right now, it would be the same way with the MIDI to CV. So I'm like, that doesn't make sense. Why would I even want to do that? So using the CV out via the audio interface and into the semi-modular, I think that was probably an easier, better idea, which is why I've been after that cable for a while. So again, I'm very, very close to getting one. But tonight I wanted to kind of walk through what I've been tinkering with in the lab today. So Ableton Live comes with a lot of really cool Max for Live plugins, and one of them is part of their probability pack. The one that I'm using tonight is called the melodic probability, and again, I'm using the No Coast. I love the No Coast because it is like, I love the tones that you can get from it, and I'm including some B-roll of what settings I'm using. I'll probably try to zoom in a little tighter so you can see how I have the No Coast set up. What I do is with these MIDI add-ins, I'll find just a pattern. Basically, I'm just looking for a pattern. I'm really not looking for notes per se, but I kind of need to know what the notes are in the end. So what I've done is I record the MIDI that I'm getting from the No Coast, or I record the audio that I'm getting from the No Coast rather, and then I get to processing it. So, for instance, on this one, I'm just gonna play for you what it's doing. Let me turn off everything else, so you can hear it. Okay, so that's the natural tone from the No Coast, how I have it programmed. So I'm using a gate out, and I'm using like a filtered. And then I've got some other things going on with connections. But I was really experimenting quite a bit with this one. And it finally gave me a sound that I hadn't experienced before with the No Coast. Now I'm still learning modular, the language, and all of the circuitry and how they coalesce with each other. But getting used to the tones and being able to manipulate them is kind of part of the fun of modular. I really like the No Coast because it's really easy to use and learn on. So I've been creating a lot of little patches, and then I can translate that kind of stuff into my Mother 32. And eventually I'm going to patch them together and really start doing some things between them with CV. I'm working my way in that direction. I'm hoping that I can get this cable so I can actually make it more of what I was wanting to experience with it. But this melodic probability was really cool find in the Ableton Max for Live instruments. And again, just tweaking and tuning the no coast for it. Now, at a point, you really do need to know what key the thing is in. I do tune it. I use an app on my phone to adjust the pitch wheel so that it's in the key of C, so that everything else when I start working is gonna be in key. So I'm not blindly just setting it up. But because I've done so much to this one, I've kind of pitched it down and I changed the actual key of what it's playing in, that I actually had to pull out a tuner. And the tuner is part of also Ableton. It's another Max for Live plugin. So this is what I ended up having to do. So this is the recorded portion. And I had to bring in a tuner so that I could tell what key that I tuned it down to. And it gives you an approximation of what key it's in. So I was able to tell it's like an F sharp kind of G-ish thing. So I was able to build my song around that. Okay, so that's kind of the magic to understanding what key to play in. Also, because it's such a rich tone, it's kind of a mid-rangey tone, I had to put a FabFilter Pro Q in there to separate it away from everything else in the spectrum. So I kind of brought the mids down some, so that's not clashing with everything. And I'm also using the ASM Hydrasynth, and I'm doing something with that as well. I'm not doing CV with it quite yet. I'm still experimenting with it. It's new to me. This is a very interesting synth module. It's interesting in the fact that it has tons of possibilities, oscillators and mutants and filters and oh my, yeah. So it's like a sound designer's dream. So I'm just now digging into it. I ended up getting an editor for it as well so that I can try to understand first what it's doing from a technical perspective so that I can be able to utilize the features. So I'm learning it from both the editor perspective and also from the knob tuning. Right now, you always start with the patches that are built in or come with it, and I tweak the patches. And on this one, I added a replica, and I am loving the replica XT that's part of the Native Instruments effects. I'm using a patch called Mild Phaser. And also on this one, I wanted to separate the spectrum, so I added a FabFilter Pro Q, and I kind of brought the mid-range over some so that it wouldn't clash with the no coast. And for a little bit of movement, I put a pancake in there. I'm not doing harsh left and rights, but kind of soft left and rights. I've got a kick and a snare, some hi-hats in there. And I brought over a Korg wave station. And the Korg wave station is using a bit regular old patch called Daydreams. And from there, I'm using Subvert, which is by Glitch Machines, and I'm using a warmer sound, warmer patch, and it does make it sound warm, and that's what it's doing. And I've got a Replica XT in there, and it is doing a deep space tape, so it's got a little bit of tape saturation to it. And I brought a little vocal snip over. My normal stuff, the Sheps. I've got a portal in there that I've been experimenting more with vocals with. And I have a vocal writer to kind of make sure that the vocal doesn't get out of control in the mix. So let me just play a little bit of snip of what this sounds like with the no coast doing its weirdness. Well, I got to take it out of that mode for you to hear it. There we go. So this song is very textured. So I have like a bunch of like rhythms happening. So I've got the drums and the hi-hats doing one rhythm. I've got another kind of mid-rangey kind of rhythm with the no coast, and then I've got another kind of offset pattern, melody pattern in there. So this is very different for me. I like experimenting. This is a lot of fun. Finding new tones and experimenting with rhythms. I swear every time I sit down and start messing with the modular stuff that I'll learn something new about sound. And this one is, I'm finding it challenging to mix because of so much mid range. So I may end up doing something else to the EQs on the no coast and also on the Hydra, just so that they're not clashing in the same frequency ranges. Also, this the wave station, it's doing like a synthy kind of stringy sound, and it at times time to me at times to me it sounds harsh. So I may end up doing some EQing on it, or compression. Maybe some light compression would calm it down some. But again, this is a journey. Well, that's all I've got. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave it in the comment section. And I appreciate you guys coming by and watching this tonight. And if you like it, please do subscribe if you're not already subscribed. And I'll see you on the next one.